all since Austin Reaves returned to the lineup. Danny, what has Austin shown you?
I mean, he's been minute restriction, but he's shown me a lot. Man, this kid has got it. The other night, obviously, this win against Golden State, Stephless Golden State, not that impressive. But the Philly win, high character win. They were down most of the game. They came back. Austin only, I think, had like 35 in like 22 minutes.
Yeah.
Crazy like that. Got hot. This is when Luka went down. So anytime Luka goes down, this guy is ready. He steps up and shows out night in, night out. First game, took a while to get his legs under him. He hasn't got to the free throw line like he's used to, but he will get there. But he's in rhythm. He's back to where he is. And he's the key. You know, they go as far as he goes. And I think in the past, the playoffs, he has not scoring as much in those series. But if he continues to play like he is right now and balling, this team can beat anybody, honestly.
Yeah, Austin Reaves raises the Lakers' floor just because of how he approaches the game. I do think we don't give enough credit to the idea of basketball IQ when it comes to him. A lot of hockey assists.
Yeah.
It's him facilitating. We saw when the Stars were out early in the season how he was keeping them competitive because of that IQ. He realizes, okay, maybe I don't have the shot, but you see that beautiful dime just dropping it off right on time, or just realizing which side of the floor is balanced. We love seeing him score. That play where he was like impressing himself was cute. But to me, the cutest thing, the most beautiful thing is just his ability to know where the right personnel are. He just looks comfortable with his squad. And so, like you said, defense is the issue for the Lakers.
Yes.
But offensively, with him on the floor, it's just a different dynamic that makes everyone else better.
And then, of course, Jalen Williams for OKC, J-Dub, is not on the injury report at the moment. He dealt with that wrist injury all season last year through the finals. This was a hamstring injury. What do you make and what can you tell us about J-Dub's return?
Well, yeah, and he's still dealing with that wrist injury that caused him to miss the first 19 games, relearning his jumper, but coming back 10 games out from the hamstring, and they need him. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is out through the All-Star break. A.J. Mitchell, who, you know, is a very dynamic.
Was their sixth man, basically.
Yeah, and you know, so they've been playing without their three best facilitators, their three best offensive initiators. They get J-Dub back tonight, and, you know, we'll see what he's able to give them. But, you know, that cushion has gone from really big to shrinking. So they need to try to get a little bit of momentum going back before the All-Star break, and his return should help.
All right, so we'll see Lakers Thunders tonight. We'll have all of it for you tomorrow on NBA Today. Let's shift over to the college ranks. Why? Okay?
Wow. What?
And the Clippers, for that matter. Okay, that's what he says, not me. But they're 19-6, as I mentioned, in the last 25.
Whole world, Demetrius.
How far can Kawhi take this team?
First of all, I do not hate on Kawhi. I am critical of the Clippers because anytime I say something good about the Los Angeles Clippers, you know what happens? Something bad.
They let you down.
There's a meltdown.
Yeah.
I picked them to come out of the West 2 years ago, and I've been paying for it ever since. I do like how they have responded to adversity, though. I do like how Kawhi has been on the floor. I love how they're running the offense through him and how he feels like he's stepping into his game and his confidence. He's found that perfect mix of strength, cardio, and finishing ability. I am surprised at their performance. I can't go all in and say this is a team that I'm going to say is going to make it to the Western Conference Finals. I respect how they've handled the last few weeks, but still, when something goes good, I hold my breath.
Clippers
So let me do it.
Clip's going to clip.
They just traded their second and third best player.
Exactly. So that's why, I mean, I don't have them going very far either. I mean, at best, playing is still 7th seed, right?
Yeah.
So at best, playing. It's still a team sport. He's one man. He's very good. I've seen it firsthand.
Yeah.
He's had unbelievable runs, and he's on an unbelievable run right now, showing the league and the world of who he is and how capable he can carry a team. But the West is so stacked, they can't get any higher than 7 or 8 to me, especially with Darius being out right now. He's not available, and Mather and those guys haven't been able to play yet. They're still trying to figure out their rhythm. They lost Ivica Zubac. He's gone. James Harden's gone. So, this is a stretch for this group. It's going to be challenging, but I think he's up for the task. He can definitely get to a 7 seed.
All right, so meanwhile, on the flip side, the Minnesota Timberwolves have lost 3 out of their last 4, and they have the second worst defense in February. It's not been a long month yet, okay? So there's still time to recoup here, but what do you make of the Timberwolves right now?
Yeah, the concern level is high. And look, you've got Rudy Gobert basically blasting everybody without naming names, blasting Anthony Edwards and Julius Randle for their lack of effort on the defensive end, calling out Chris Finch for not benching their players. You know, Chris Finch basically firing back the next day, telling, in so many words, Rudy to shut up and have those conversations behind closed doors, saying nobody has ever substituted their way to anything meaningful in the NBA. It's very messy right now in Minnesota, and Rudy's not wrong with some of the things he's saying. It's just not the right way to go about it. The best thing I can tell Timberwolves fans is it was just as messy last year for the Wolves in February, and they managed to get their stuff together and go on a run to the conference finals. But this is a team that is capable of very high highs, but is extremely erratic, and there's some real immaturity.
A perfect point to that is the high highs, the low lows. This was your 6th loss by 15-plus points this season. So, like, you get whooped, but then you can win a big game. But most importantly, the question mark for me is their defensive identity. That's what we have known them for. Very different than OKC. OKC runs one of the best on a string team defenses. They had, like, those dogs, literally, Ant Edwards, the long wings, and then you have Rudy Gobert, Defensive Player of the Year, behind them. So they had talent defensively. But when you look at the stat line that Kawhi posted, it did not feel like the strategy worked, nor the personnel individually worked. 6 for 11 on McDaniels, 3 for 7 on Randall, 2 for 5 versus Ant Edwards, and 3 for 7 versus all others.
Very efficient.
Strategy's not working one-on-one or as a team component. So what is their identity? How do they rebound?
So, Danny, let me ask you a quick question. How much of this is complacency? I know they haven't won a championship, but they've been to the Western Conference Finals 2 years in a row.
Yeah.
How much of it could potentially be that?
It could be some fatigue, mental and emotional. They probably need all-star break right now, but there's no excuse. And to Tim's point, like this is worrisome. Like I'm very concerned because they're not. I don't see them bouncing back and recovering and doing what they did this year. They did last year. Because honestly, last year I thought they were kind of lucky getting to Western Conference Finals. It's all matchups. They played a Lakers team that had no inside, and they played a hurt Golden State team, so they got lucky. So this year, if they don't pick it up, they're going to be out early.
Also the feelings, right? Oh, Giannis might be coming. That's what the conversations were, and players are like, well, am I that valuable? Am I part of the future? That does not help your performance as well.
All right.
You should be
we'll see. Concern is high.
Leading between the two by 29 points, and LA is where we find NBA reporter Tim McMahon. Howdy, Tim. So the Thunder have been dealing with injuries all season. We have SGA, A.J. Mitchell out tonight, but they have some good news. What about Jay Williams?
Howdy, Hannah. Yeah, Jalen Williams, J-Dub, is off the injury report. He was cleared to return after missing the last 10 games with a right hamstring strain. A badly needed boost of ball handling, of playmaking for the Thunder, and a chance for him to get back on the court. Been a frustrating season for him. Missed the first month and a half or so coming off the off-season surgery on his shooting wrist. Still really trying to find his form and has a chance to do that here in the last week before the All-Star break.
All right, on the other side, we have Luka Doncic out for a second straight game. What's the latest on Luka? I know he's dealing with a mild left hamstring strain.
Yeah, Rob Pelinka said it is truly day-to-day as opposed to just the general day-to-day. And so the Lakers have a back-to-back here with the Thunder and the Spurs. We will see if he's able to get back for tomorrow night against San Antonio. But they also have Luka's old friends, the Dallas Mavericks, coming through on Thursday. And so truly day-to-day. We'll see if he can play this week. And if not, we'll see if Luka, the top vote-getter in the All-Star game, is going to be part of those festivities. The hope is that he will be able to play an All-Star weekend. But again, let's see if he's back on the floor for the Lakers this week first.
Yeah, certainly wouldn't have to travel far as they're right there in L.A. A win would mark the Lakers' longest winning streak since November, 4 in a row. All right, Tim, thanks. We'll be talking to you a whole bunch coming up. Meanwhile, the Lakers are in playoff contention, but the Utah Jazz are not, and some recent in-game decisions aren't helping. They made a surprising splash at the trade deadline. They get Jaren Jackson Jr. from Memphis. He debuted for the team on Saturday. He scores 22 points. The Jazz lead by 7 entering the fourth, and then they sit Triple J and Lauri Markkanen for the entire fourth quarter of an eventual 3-point loss to Orlando. Ace Bailey was the only starter playing down the stretch. As Danny Green joins us now, this caused a lot of people to sit up and take notice because they have a protected top 8 pick. They're certainly not alone in making obvious moves that are antithetical to winning. What are your thoughts about what you're seeing, this tanking from the Jazz and others before the All-Star break?
Big shocker, right? They want their cake and eat it too. I mean, they want their draft picks. They made the trades. They got the pieces, but they also want their top pick as well, which is smart, right? You want to continue to build and be well, but also because there's a really good draft pick coming up. But this is a problem for the league. You know, this is putting out a bad situation going on with these teams tanking this early. We got to find a solution because this is not good for the league. It's not good for the fan base. It's not good for the fans. Because this product is not one that people want to come and see night in, night out. So we got to find a way to fix this. I mean, I've had some random ideas or rumblings. I've talked to some people. Even my co-host on Inside the Green Room, Harrison Sanford, came with a good idea. It's like, we should just leave the record as what it is at All-Star break. Whatever your record is there is how it should be in the lottery, and that's how you'll get picked to whatever team. Because at this point now, you don't want to tank too early before the All-Star break. So at that point, I think it's a good stopping point for the record of predicting where your lottery chances should be.
So freezing the standings right at the All-Star break. Okay, I mean, listen, here's the issue, though. The owners see this as essential for a franchise rebuild with that stellar draft class that you mentioned coming up. And given what we're seeing, Giannis is getting healthier. Should the Bucks play him when he's healthy?
I mean, fans they come to see these guys. They want to play, right? We want to see these guys. We want to see these guys compete. That's why I say stop the record at the halfway mark or at the All-Star break, because then teams can continue to compete, try to get into the play-in, try to get better, try to get guys, and fans feeling seen and make it exciting for the rest of the season. Because once you get that halfway point or All-Star break, if you're not in the runnings, you're just kind of, we give up, we should tank, we should try to get the best draft pick as possible. So yeah, Giannis should take his time coming back, but if he's healthy, why shouldn't he play? They pay him a lot of money to show up and play the game of basketball. So if he's healthy by the time of March, he should be playing basketball.
And as you pointed out, these fans are spending a lot of their hard-earned money to come to these games. But then again, the Bucks' best chance at a good pick is to continue to lose. Something we will continue to address, no doubt. Danny Green, we appreciate you. Thanks.
This is a team that raises banners. They don't go for second-round exits. They don't go for Western Conference Finals. They compete for championships. And when you have a standard like that, we always judge them and criticize them based on where they are. But this is a quality basketball team. If you throw the Los Angeles Lakers in the Eastern Conference, we're having a completely different conversation about who's what in the East. But because they're in a tough West, they're sitting at 5th place with a guy like Austin Reaves being the amazing player that he is and what he brings to the table for them. But he definitely raises the ceiling anytime that he's in uniform. They become a better team on the offensive end. They score easier than when he's off the floor. They play faster. They become a 3-point deep threat basketball team when he's out there. All the way across the board, they become a better basketball team when Austin Reaves is available. So I love it. Now, where can they get some improvement in the standings and where they are? I don't think they move very much because a lot of teams have pretty much positioned themselves. But if they go for a crazy run, I can see them cracking the top 4, getting out of that 5th and being a home court team.
That's a tough gauntlet right there in the middle, Boogie. It's going to be a hell of a run after All-Star.
I agree. I think Austin Reaves has pretty much established himself as far as what he can do on a nightly basis. We know he's a great offensive threat in this league. And obviously he lifts his team when he is available. But I feel like it's been kind of a pattern for this Lakers team throughout the year. It's always 2 out of the 3, you know what I mean? So we always getting these waves of, 2 out of the 3 superstars playing together, and they eventually always go on these runs. So I'm more so forward to looking at them as a whole, seeing them play consistently in a stretch, and I think we get a better view of what this actual Lakers team is. Like I said, it's been real choppy throughout the year as far as having all 3 guys on the floor together, and I think that's more so of how we can determine this Lakers team, moving forward, and how good or bad they really are. But obviously, with the talent that Austin Reaves is, he elevates his team, and the other 2 superstars are established and well spoken for as far as what they've brought to the game. So we'll see what happens.
I want to do a little film sesh, if you guys don't mind here. Draymond Green specific. Take me through these plays. There were a couple of them. That's the Vanderbilt moment. You also had an Austin Reaves moment coming up here in a second. Look, there's 2. I don't know. Should they have been flagrants? 1. You tell me. What am I looking at, Boogie? Okay, you said it's basketball.
Yeah, it's basketball, man. Man, Lou, you know when you was growing up and you know it'll be that one football player that plays basketball and he
ain't
plays.
supposed to be out there. He don't understand the body. He don't understand the science of it. So he just running into people out there.
And you know how
This is Draymond
and
Green.
you know
He
how you would
understands.
quickly label him a dirty player when actually he's just a rough ass player. Like I think we got to get to the point to where we just realize Draymond
We've
is just a
gotten
rough
so
player.
soft and we so used to the finesse.
this
of
is a
basketball that
rough-
when somebody gets hit, all of a sudden it's a dirty play. This is basketball. This is a regular Monday to me from my first 10 years in the league. This was nothing.
Yeah,
I can't believe y'all are pretending Draymond's new, like he doesn't know his own strength.
No, we're not saying,
it's
we're not
more
saying
so-
that we're new. We're just saying that how we talk about these things. It's like this is basketball to us.
It just makes
I think they made the right calls. I think they called
Fair
the, you know, if it was a foul, it was a foul. But to try to make it anything more, come on, man. I've seen dirty players.
You know, the only reason that you know why these things stand out? Because back in the old days, back in our day, usually a foul like that was followed up by somebody else fouling him like that or fouling their best player like that.
Right.
Nobody's retaliating. And so he just out there looking like a crazy man by himself. But this is but this is nothing. Like
Literally
years
nothing.
and years, we've talked about Draymond Green being Steph Curry's security, being his muscle, being the guy that's going to protect him and make sure he's okay. Some other teams need to get like them. That's all. Just y'all need to get like them and get somebody with this identity. So no, these, you know, you say it's a dirty play or a flagrant, whatever it is. This is who he is. We got to get over that. Somebody else just got to match his energy.
I wish somebody would. I'd pray for that. I really would. I wish somebody would.
Gotta live by the wish creed.
Come on. We got to take a quick break. When we come back.
Is there anything more deliciously ironic than watching a franchise that spent the better part of a decade being mercilessly roasted by every basketball pundit for that championship poor bustin' patience suddenly discover the fine art of strategic restraint and long-term vision? How exactly did the Los Angeles Lakers, the same organization that once gleefully mortgaged their entire future for Russell Westbrook only to watch it explode in their faces like a poorly timed fireworks show, somehow evolve into a shining example of calculated patience and sophisticated roster construction? What cosmic shift occurred in the Lakers front office that transformed them from the basketball equivalent of a desperate online shopper hitting by now on every shiny object into an organization that actually understands the difference between need and want, between immediate gratification and sustainable success? And perhaps most fascinating of all, what does it tell us about the current state of professional basketball that the most compelling storylines aren't always about the blockbuster trades that dominate ESPN's breaking news alert, but rather about the subtle, intelligent moves that reveal an organization's true character and vision for building something that lasts beyond a single playoff run? Don't forget to smash that like button if you're enjoying this comprehensive breakdown of the Lakers' fascinating, organizational, the most immediate and potentially season-defining concern looming over the Lakers like a dark storm cloud gathering momentum is Luka Doncic's hamstring injury, which has now officially sidelined the NBA's leading scorer for Monday night's marquee matchup against the defending champion Oklahoma City Thunder. What initially appeared during Thursday's hard-fought victory over Philadelphia as simple left leg soreness has been diagnosed through MRI as a mild left hamstring strain, with head coach JJ Redick confirming that the superstar guard is considered day-to-day moving forward. Though the Lakers made the prudent decision to rule him out more than 24 hours before game time, the timing couldn't be more cruel for a Lakers organization that was finally starting to see tantalizing glimpses of what their core trio could accomplish when operating at full strength, especially considering the devastating reality that Austin Havas and LeBron James have managed to share the court together for only 9 complete games this season due to the relentless parade of injuries that have plagued this roster like a biblical curse. The statistical impact of losing Doncic cannot be overstated when you consider that he leads the entire NBA in scoring at 32.8 points per game. Recently captured Western Conference Player of the Month honors for January after averaging a mind-boggling 34.0 points on 50.6%, shooting with 7.2 rebounds and 9.1 assists, and represents the kind of generational offensive talent that championship caliber teams simply cannot afford to lose for extended periods without seeing their title aspirations take a significant hit. But here's the silver lining that Lakers fans should clutch like a precious lifeline in these turbulent waters. ESPN's respected insider Dave McMenamin reported there's initial optimism that this isn't a major injury that could derail their season. Redick's clinical description of it as a mild strain suggests we're looking at a timeline measured in days rather than weeks or months. The Lakers have gone 5-4 in games without Doncic this season, which isn't championship level performance, but certainly demonstrates that this team possesses enough depth and talent to remain competitive even when their best player is unavailable. What makes this situation somewhat more manageable is the return of Austin Reaves, who looked absolutely sensational in his comeback from a month-long calf injury absence, dropping 35 points against Philadelphia and following that up with 16 points and 8 assists in the victory over Golden State while still operating under a minutes restriction. The cruel irony is that Reaves finally appears to be rounding into his best form of the season just as Doncic hits the injury list, continuing this team's season-long struggle with the basketball gods' apparent determination to prevent their 3 best players from ever being healthy, simultaneously for more than a few games at a time. I believe this injury scare, while absolutely terrifying for Lakers fans in the immediate moment, might actually serve as a valuable reminder that championship-level depth and strategic planning matter just as much as star power when constructing a roster capable of navigating the inevitable adversity that defines every successful playoff run. The most encouraging and frankly delightful development during Doncic's forced absence has been Luke Kennard's absolutely seamless integration into the Lakers' offensive ecosystem, which has felt like watching a master chef add the perfect seasoning to an already promising dish at exactly the right moment. Kennard's highly anticipated debut in Saturday's convincing 105-99 victory over the Golden State Warriors was nothing short of basketball poetry in motion, as he finished with 10 points, 2 rebounds, 2 assists, and 1 steal in 26 efficient minutes while shooting a crisp 4-0-7 from the field and from three-point range in what amounted to a perfect audition for his new role. What made his performance so immediately compelling wasn't just the raw statistics, though they were certainly impressive, but rather the way Warriors defenders were practically glued to him throughout the entire game, creating the kind of gravitational pull that only elite shooters can generate and that championship teams desperately need to unlock. Their offensive potential, the basketball IQ that Kennard displayed was immediately evident in his whether he was making smart reads when defenses closed out aggressively on his shooting or creating easy opportunities for teammates through his excellent entry passes and court vision. The beauty of the Kennard acquisition extends far beyond his NBA-leading 49.7% three-point shooting this season, though that statistic alone makes him worth the modest price of Gabe Vincent and a future second-round pick. What the Lakers truly gained was his versatility as both an initiator and a movement shooter who can create productive second actions when defenses overplay his shooting threat, giving J.J. Redick's offense a new dimension that it previously lacked. The Duke connection between Kennard and Redick isn't just a cute media storyline designed to generate feel-good content. It represents genuine basketball chemistry and mutual understanding that should translate into immediate strategic advantages as Redick designs specific actions and sets tailored to maximize Kennard's unique skill set. LeBron James offered effusive praise for Kennard's basketball intelligence after the Warriors' victory, specifically noting how his penetration and kick-out passes create easy scoring opportunity for teammates even when his own shots don't fall, calling them great basketball plays that demonstrate the kind of unselfish winning mentality that championship teams require from their role players. The fact that Kennard can function as another reliable ball handler and initiator when the Lakers' primary creators need rest addresses one of their most persistent depth concerns while adding a layer of offensive versatility that could prove invaluable during the grueling playoff grind when every possession matters exponentially more. Perhaps most importantly, from an organizational standpoint, this acquisition addresses multiple pressing needs simultaneously, while creating absolutely zero long-term complications for the Lakers' broader strategic goals, actually saving them $500,000 in salary commitments while significantly improving both their immediate championship prospects and their future roster flexibility. Thinking about it, finding a player who can immediately upgrade your weakest area while also making your financial situation more favorable is exactly the kind of win-win scenario that separates smart front offices from those that constantly find themselves trapped by their own poor decisions. Perhaps the most intriguing and potentially franchise-altering move in this entire sequence of decisions has been the Lakers' calculated choice to sign Kobe Buffkin to a 2-year deal with a team option for 2026 to 27, boldly choosing explosive upside potential over the perceived safety of proven but ultimately limited production from established veterans in the buyout market. Buffkin has been absolutely unconscious and virtually unstoppable for the South Bay Lakers this season, putting up video game numbers that would make even the most skeptical evaluator take notice. 26.7 points on an efficient 51.3% shooting and an absolutely eye-popping 43.1% from three-point range across 21 games of sustained excellence. His recent performances have bordered on the supernatural, including a career-high 41 points against the Capital City Go-Go, where he started a perfect 7 of 7 from beyond the arc and accumulated 30 points in the first half alone, followed by another dominant outing where he started 6 of -6 from three-point range before teams even had time to adjust their defensive game plan. What makes this signing particularly fascinating from a roster construction perspective is that it represents the Lakers consciously choosing to bet their precious 5/10 roster spot on a young player who could potentially develop into everything they need rather than settling for aging veterans who come with well-documented limitations, injury concerns, and minimal upside for improvement. The 22-year-old former first-round pick brings legit NBA size at 6 foot -4 with an impressive 6 foot -8 wingspan that gives him defensive versatility across multiple positions, the kind of two-way potential that modern championship teams desperately need. And the basketball intelligence that suggests his G-League success could translate to meaningful NBA contributions. His ability to create his own shot while simultaneously functioning as a deadly catch-and-shoot threat gives him the positional flexibility to fit alongside the Lakers' established stars without requiring the entire offense to be reconstructed around his skill set. The inevitable skeptics will argue that the Lakers should have prioritized immediate help from established players like Haywood Highsmith, who brings proven defensive versatility and championship experience, or Cam Thomas, whose scoring ability could provide instant bench production. But there's genuinely sound logic behind this decision that extends far beyond simple talent evaluation into the realm of organization, philosophy, and strategic vision. Bufkin represents absolutely zero financial risk from a cap management perspective. Comes with no concerning injury history or character questions that might create locker room problems, and gives them a young, controllable asset who could potentially outperform his modest contract while providing valuable depth during the regular season grind and potentially even playoff contributions if his development trajectory continues upward. I believe this decision reflects an organization that has finally learned painful lessons from past mistakes about chasing short-term fixes at the expense of sustainable long-term building. And if Bufkin can translate even a reasonable fraction of his dominant G-League production to the NBA level, he could end up being the most valuable pickup of the entire buyout period without technically even being a traditional buyout signing. The encouraging news regarding a thorough, steady recovery progression adds yet another layer of optimism to the Lakers' increasingly promising depth picture, as the athletically gifted rookie has been strategically assigned to the South Bay Lakers alongside Dalton Knecht for intensive practice sessions and conditioning work designed to accelerate his return to game action. Thero has been frustratingly sidelined since December 30th, with a sprained MCL in his right knee, an injury that threatened to derail what had been a promising start to his professional career after being selected 36th overall in last year's draft. However, recent reports from team sources indicate that he has fully participated in demanding full contact scrimmaging during South Bay State Ready games earlier this week, which represents the crucial final stages of his rehabilitation process and suggests that the Lakers could have another explosive athletic presence back in their rotation sooner rather than later. The timing of his potential return couldn't be more fortuitous, as Thero's remarkable physical tools, explosive leaping ability, a near 7-foot wingspan, and elite ground coverage give him an immediate defensive role that addresses one of the Lakers' most persistent weaknesses in terms of consistent perimeter defense against elite scorers. What makes Thero's impending return even more valuable from both immediate and long-term perspectives is that he provides the Lakers with another young, cost-controlled asset who can contribute meaningful minutes right away while simultaneously developing into something even more impactful over time. His presence could significantly reduce the minutes that have been going to less effective bench players who simply don't possess his combination of athleticism and defensive instincts. And his ability to guard multiple positions represents exactly the kind of versatile defensive impact that championship teams absolutely must have from their role players during PLA YOFF series, where every possession and every defensive stop becomes magnified in importance. The calculated decision to assign Dalton Knecht to the G-League alongside Thero reveals both the harsh realities of professional basketball development and the Lakers' commitment to maximizing the potential of their young assets rather than simply writing them off after early struggles. Knecht has undeniably struggled to find consistent playing time and rhythm this season, averaging a modest 4.6 points in just 11.5 minutes per game while shooting 44.4% from the field and a disappointing 33% from three-point range, numbers that fall well short of the reasonable expectations that accompanied his selection as the 17th overall pick in the 2024 NBA draft. The acquisition of Luke Kennard has essentially pushed Knecht further down the organizational depth chart, as Kennard immediately provides the elite shooting consistency and advanced basketball IQ that the Lakers had hoped to eventually get from Knecht when they invested a first-round pick in his potential. While this G-League assignment might initially appear to be a step backward for the young wing's development, spending concentrated time with South Bay could actually prove to be exactly what Knecht needs to. Rebuild his shattered confidence and systematically refine his skills away from the intense pressure and constant scrutiny of the NBA spotlight. The G League environment will allow him to receive consistent playing time and offensive touches, work extensively on his decision-making and shot selection, and rediscover the lethal shooting touch that made him such an attractive prospect coming out of his dominant season at Tennessee. Sometimes the most beneficial thing for a young player's long-term development is getting regular minutes and meaningful touches, rather than sitting helplessly on the bench hoping for occasional garbage time opportunities that don't allow for any real rhythm or confidence build. I believe the Lakers are demonstrating mature organizational thinking by taking a patient long-term view with Knecht, recognizing that player development is rarely a straight line, and it's sometimes taking what appears to be a step backward can ultimately lead to significant leaps forward in a player's career trajectory. The broader strategic picture that emerges from analyzing these interconnected individual moves reveals an organization that has undergone a complete philosophical transformation, finally learning how to expertly balance immediate competitive needs with long-term flexibility and sustainable success, rather than constantly lurching between panic mode and desperation moves. Instead of succumbing to external pressure to make splashy panic trades that mortgage their future for marginal present-day upgrades, the Lakers have systematically addressed their most glaring organizational weakness in three-point shooting while simultaneously adding promising young talent that could pay significant dividends both during this current championship window and well into the future. The Luke Kennard acquisition provides them with immediate elite-level help from one of the league's most proven shooters without compromising any of their valuable summer flexibility. The Kobe Buffkin signing adds legitimate upside and athleticism without any meaningful financial risk, and their measured approach to the buyout market demonstrates a level of strategic discipline and long-term thinking that would have been absolutely unthinkable during their previous regime's impulsive decision-making eras, with more than $55 million in projected cap space for the 2026 offseason. According to multiple salary cap experts, the Lakers are strategically positioning themselves to potentially pursue transformational talent like Giannis Antetokounmpo while maintaining the kind of promising young core that sustainable championship teams require to maintain their competitive window over multiple years rather than just a single season. The financial flexibility they've carefully preserved through their conservative yet intelligent approach isn't just about having abstract cap space sitting unused. It's about being able to absorb massive contracts without being forced to include unwanted salary filler or young assets that might not interest potential trade partners, which gives them a tremendously significant competitive advantage over other suitors who might need to construct complicated multi-team scenarios just to make the money work mathematically. The buyout market continues to present several genuinely intriguing possibilities that could provide meaningful upgrades without compromising any of their long-term strategic goals, with Haywood Highsmith emerging as perhaps the most compelling and logical target if his troublesome knee issues are completely resolved, and he can return to the productive form that made him such a valuable contributor for Eric Spoelstra's championship-contending Miami Heat teams. Highsmith was unceremoniously waived by the Brooklyn Nets immediately following the trade deadline as part of their roster reshuffling efforts, and according to credible reports from league sources, he's currently drawing serious interest from several playoff contending teams while making excellent progress in his recovery from the meniscus surgery that has frustratingly kept him completely sidelined throughout this entire season. According to his agent, Jerry Dionis, Highsmith has returned to full health, is actively participating in competitive 5-on-5 scrimmages, and was originally targeting February 11th for his return to game action before the Nets made their roster decision, meaning any team fortunate enough to sign him wouldn't have to wait long before he could contribute meaningful minutes in their rotation. What makes Highsmith particularly appealing specifically for the Lakers' current roster construction needs is his proven defensive versatility combined with legitimate and reliable shooting ability, having shot an impressive 38.2% from three-point range last season while averaging 6.5 points and 3.4 rebounds per game in a significant role for a Heat team that advanced deep into the playoffs. His exceptional 7-foot wingspan and well-documented defensive instincts would immediately address one of the Lakers' most persistent and costly weaknesses in terms of consistent wing defense against elite scorers, while his reliable outside shooting would provide crucial help for a team currently ranked a disappointing 21st in three-point percentage and dead last in bench scoring across the entire league. Miami Heat coach Eric Spoelstra, who knows elite role players better than virtually anyone in the league, has consistently praised Highsmith as a great defender, Swiss Army knife guy, winning player who fills in a bunch of different gaps and knows how to play his role, which represents exactly the kind of versatile impact that championship teams desperately need from their supporting cast members. The financial appeal of potentially adding Highsmith through the buyout market rather than via trade cannot be overstated from an organizational planning perspective, as it would preserve every single dollar of the Lakers. Valuable future flexibility while offering immediate rotational upside that could pay dividends in both regular season depth and playoff contributions. A buyout signing would likely involve only a short-term, minimum-level contract that preserves all of their precious cap room for the summer while potentially providing the kind of two-way impact that often makes the difference between playoff disappointment and championship celebration. Cam Thomas represents a completely different type of strategic opportunity, one that could directly address the Lakers' desperate and well-documented need for reliable bench scoring while providing the kind of dynamic offensive creation that becomes absolutely precious during playoff runs when possessions are severely limited and every single scoring opportunity must be ruthlessly maximized. Thomas was officially waived by the Brooklyn Nets exactly 6 minutes after the trade deadline expired in what multiple sources described as a mutual decision between player and organization, instantly creating what many talent evaluators consider the most intriguing pure scoring option available on the entire buyout market. The 24-year-old guard had been averaging a respectable 15.6 points and 3.1 assists per game this season, while showing tantalizing flashes of the explosive offensive ability that made him average nearly 24.0 points per game during his breakout 202-324 campaign, though a combination of injury problems, efficiency concerns, and apparent frustration with his reduced role in Brooklyn ultimately led to this mutual parting of ways. The circumstances surrounding Thomas's release tell a compelling story about opportunity and timing that could work perfectly in the Lakers' favor if choose to pursue him aggressively. Thomas had boldly signed his qualifying offer during the summer, essentially betting on himself to have a career-defining season that would position him for a substantial payday in free agency. But a significant hamstring injury that cost him 20 games clearly disrupted his rhythm and confidence throughout the year as he struggled with efficiency issues while posting concerning 39.9% shooting from the field and just 32.5% from three-point range. The fact that Thomas immediately expressed genuine enthusiasm about contributing to another team's success after being waived, telling reporters he's super excited and ready to actually help and contribute, suggests he's approached this professional setback with the right mindset and understands that a fresh start with the championship organization could be exactly what his career needs to unlock his considerable potential. The appeal for the Lakers specifically lies in Thomas's proven ability to create his own shot at high volume, something that could prove invaluable for a team that currently ranks dead last in the NBA in bench scoring and sometimes struggles to generate consistent offense when their established stars are resting or when the pace naturally slows down during crucial playoff moments where every possession carries exponential importance. Thomas averaged an impressive 22.9 points per game over the previous 2 seasons, while consistently demonstrating the kind of shot creation ability that most teams would love to have available off their bench. And his relative youth at just 24 years old means he's still in the ascending phase of his career rather than decline. While Thomas certainly comes with legitimate concerns about defensive consistency and shot selection that any potential suitor would need to address through coaching and system implementation. The upside potential of adding a proven scorer who can function effectively without needing an elaborate offensive system built specifically around him represents exactly the kind of calculated risk that could make the substantial difference in a competitive Western Conference where depth and bench production often separate legitimate contenders from pretenders. Thinking about it objectively, the combination of Thomas's offensive potential and the Lakers' desperate need for reliable bench production makes this connection almost unavoidable from a basketball logic standpoint, especially when you factor in the kind of clean looks he might get playing alongside elite playmakers who can consistently collapse defenses and create wide open scoring opportunities. The broadest strategic landscape that emerges from this comprehensive analysis reveals an organization that has undergone a complete philosophical transformation, evolving from the basketball equivalent of impulse shoppers into shrewd operators who understand the delicate balance between immediate needs and long-term sustainability. The Lakers have systematically addressed their most critical weaknesses while positioning themselves for both immediate playoff success and future championship pursuits, proving that organizations don't necessarily have to choose between competing now and building for tomorrow when they operate with genuine intelligence, patience, and disciplined, strategic vision. Whether Doncic returns quickly from his hamstring injury without any lingering effects, how effectively Kennard continues to integrate into their offensive system and defensive schemes, what additional moves they might make in the buyout market, and how their young players continue to develop will ultimately determine whether this season culminates in championship celebration or a valuable experience that sets the stage for future championship runs. But the solid foundation they've constructed through consistently smart decision-making and strategic patience gives Lakers fans every reasonable reason to believe that this organization has finally truly learned how to build sustainable success rather than just chasing headlines and short-term fixes that create more problems than they solve. The most encouraging aspect of this entire organizational evolution might be how the Lakers have managed to address their immediate competitive needs while simultaneously positioning themselves for a transformational long-term success, definitively proving that intelligent front offices don't have to choose between competing in the present and building for the future when they operate with clarity of vision and disciplined execution of their strategic plan.